Hi, I'm Craig Ingstrom, part owner of Covert Investigative Services, a full-service private investigation company located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We can and will retain clients nationwide. In this vidcast, we would like to reveal some of the most common signs of a cheating spouse or partner. Now, we hope that you will never have to use this information, but of course, it never hurts to have it ready at hand just in case something were to change in your life. Number one on this list would be a rapid change in appearance. This is one of the biggest telltale signs. Now, here we're talking about things like losing weight or changes in clothing style, a new perfume or a new cologne, a haircut, like a new haircut, changing from something like a longer cut to maybe something like a mohawk, big changes in musical taste, and so on and so forth. The second big thing you should be looking for is protecting of the cell phone, such as setting a password on the cell phone that didn't exist before or changing that password if you happen to have known it, not leaving it around if that was their normal routine or behavior, also going out of the room if they're taking a phone call or running to it if it's ringing and they think someone else might get it, also things like deleting text messages quickly after receiving them, sort of not being able to come up with a quick answer if you ask them who's calling, and so on. Number three, also a big one, very close to number one, but now we're talking about sudden changes in behavior. If they have a particular routine and then suddenly that routine is not adding up, you ought to be thinking twice about what's going on. So for example, if they happen to miss appointments, if they get home later than they usually do, if suddenly they're saying that they're being asked to work unexpected hours or they're changing their work schedule, suddenly they're saying they have to go do things on the weekend or they take up a new hobby. These are the kinds of behaviors that you ought to be looking for. And I know that's sort of common sense because this is the one that's often represented in television shows and people kind of get it. But really, I think sometimes we can delude ourselves. So you need to be looking for that. And if you suspect something, say something. So this one case we had, this guy was seriously a shopaholic and was telling his wife that he was staying after work and so on. Now, she suspected he was cheating on her with another person. Turns out he just had a shopping habit and would go to the mall. We'd follow him around, he'd buy clothes and just put them into the trunk of his car and leave them there. So is that a form of cheating? You decide. But nevertheless, I could imagine that it's not being truthful. If you're not truthful about one thing, maybe you're not truthful about other things. And so you really ought to hire a private investigator if you suspect that anything might be amiss, even if it might not be a cheating spouse. All right, 4, intimacy. Now this is a big one. Now you can either have a lack of intimacy or over-the-top intimacy. Lack of intimacy involves things like suddenly they're not wanting to kiss or hug. It could mean that they're finding other people to give this to. Now, over-the-top intimacy could involve they found something new or unique that they want to try out in, say, for example, the bedroom. So if you find any changes of intimacy, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are having an affair, but it is something to look out for. Also, you have to be aware that if you are not having intimacy in general, it could be opportunities for a person to want to find these types of things outside of the relationship. So we always counsel people to find someone to speak with, try to resolve that problem before it becomes another issue. Seriously. Now, each one of these on their own might not indicate that the person you're with is cheating. However, a combination of 2 or more could mean that they are. In this case, you might want to reach out to a professional private investigator to help you out. And I know that in this day and age with cell phones and various apps, you might be able to track somebody on your own. But do be advised that in many states, it is illegal to follow somebody or trace them without their consent. So hiring a professional private investigator can help save you both legal expenses and potential problems with your partner. Should we find out, for example, that they really aren't cheating, but just simply needed maybe a change in routine.